Hey there, thinkers! Welcome back to Critical Hit. My name is Est. So, Nelson Peltz is apparently leading the charge in this thrilling proxy battle with Disney for board seats, thanks to CalPERS, a pension management company, giving him a big old pat on the back. Oh, and let's not forget Jay Rasulo.
Nailed it.
The ex-CFO of Disney, is jumping on that Peltz bandwagon. Talk about a real confidence booster for good old Nelson. So let's get into this, shall we? But let's get real here. This whole charade is just dripping with symbolism. When these corporate bigwigs start cozying up to the competition, it's like a giant neon flashing sign, no confidence, right in Bob Iger's face. And guess what? Wall Street and the gang aren't buying what Iger's selling anymore. It's like a bad breakup, but with shareholder drama. The symbolism alone is enough to give Iger an existential crisis. Does he even have a clue what he's doing anymore? Like, who knows? But one thing is for certain, drama is brewing in the House of Mouse. And would you believe it? Old Bobby Boy is losing the faith of the very people he's supposed to be looking out for. Talk about a slap in the face. This is huge, like massive. A real feather in Nelson Peltz's cap, if you ask me. We've got articles coming out left and right, all about Disney's little tussle for board seats. From Disney's bruised and board vote battle as pension fund CalPERS backs Nelson Peltz to ex-CFO. And then we have Disney board showdown. It's like we're watching a soap opera unfold, but hold on to your panties, because we're about to dive into Nelson Peltz's big victory. We now have less than 48 hours before the deadline for Disney's shareholders to play their part in this epic showdown between the Mouse House and good old Nelson Peltz. One of the country's top pension funds decided to crash the party. That's right, the California Public Employees Retirement System, CalPERS. They came in swinging with a whopping 6.7 million shares in Disney. It's like they're bringing a bazooka to a water gun fight. And let me tell you, they blew a giant hole right through Bob Iger's carefully crafted defenses, leaving him and his cronies scrambling to keep Peltz and his entourage from snagging those precious board seats. Oh, and mark your calendars, thinkers, because April 3rd, which is tomorrow, is when all the drama will unfold. So Wednesday is the deadline, and all those juicy votes will finally be in. We will be on the edge of our seats, eagerly awaiting the latest gossip. And guess what? We might actually find out what's been going on with Disney. Shocking, right? So here comes CalPERS with their 2 cents, according to none other than John Mears, the big cheese over at the CalPERS Office of Public Affairs. They're all about shaking things up, and they'll throw a bone to Iger and his gang, sure, but they're not afraid to stir the pot with candidates like Nelson Peltz and Jay Rasulo. It's like they're saying, out with the old and in with the new. The sheer possibility of someone else snagging a spot on the board. Cue the dramatic statement from the pension fund, waxing poetic virtues of independent corporate boards, yada yada yada. They're all about shaking up the status quo and bringing in fresh blood to lead the charge. But guess who is actually playing it cool as a cucumber? Disney, of course. No comment from the House of Mouse, because why would they bother? Sure, Disney might not be losing sleep over CalPERS, who's just a drop in the bucket compared to their massive shareholder pool. But let's not forget about the little guys. They're the ones causing all this ruckus behind closed doors in Burbank. The tension is visible. This vote has got Disney's top brass sweating bullets. And you know what? It's not just about the numbers, it's about the symbolism. Yes, let's talk about the symbolism, shall we? Because even if Peltz doesn't manage to weasel his way onto that coveted board, it's the symbolic victory that really counts. Disney might be a giant amongst giants. But guess what? Individual and small shareholders hold a whopping 40% of the keys to the kingdom. Perception is power, my friends. And right now, those little guys are holding all the cards. Disney is shaking in their mouse boots. They're frantically dialing up shareholders left and right, bombarding them with campaign-like propaganda. But hey, Fair is fair, right? Peltz is out there pounding the pavement for those board seats, so why shouldn't Disney join the fun? It's like a high-stakes game of cat and mouse, with Disney desperately trying to maintain his facade of invincibility, while Peltz lurks in the shadows, ready to pounce. If Disney wasn't sweating bullets over Peltz, he would be lounging back, sipping their overpriced coffee, oozing confidence like they own the place. But no. Instead, they're hitting up shareholders like it's their side hustle, trying to drum up support like their corporate lives depend on it. And don't even get me started on this Pearl Mutter Proxy Peltz dead on arrival. Yeah, right, whoever wrote this must have been living under a rock. I mean, let's talk about the big guns lining up behind Iger. George Lucas, Lawrence Powell Jobs, and ex-CEO Michael Eisner. Despite Peltz's less than stellar stock value argument, those shares are climbing. His argument for action hasn't been helped by the fact that these shares have gained 34% in 2024 to date. And would you look at that, Disney stock managed to eke out a measly 1% gain on Thursday. And that was with the stock market taking a break for Good Friday. But hey, let's not kid ourselves. That uptick is all thanks to the juicy drama unfolding in the boardroom. People are practically salivating at the thought of Peltz inching closer to snagging a seat. It's like they're cheering on the underdog in a high-stakes game of corporate musical chairs. And let's not forget this article, shedding the light on the oh-so-thrilling Disney board showdown. What's at stake, you might ask? Just the future of one of the biggest power struggles this side of the corporate world. And let me break that down for you. Shareholder votes for corporate board directors are about as suspenseful as a Soviet-style election. Talk about a nail-biter. Most of the time, it's a snooze fest with company-backed candidates coasting to victory without breaking a sweat. But would you look at those riveting stats? In 2022, a whopping 75 board-endorsed candidates had the audacity fall short in the popularity contest that is shareholder voting. The horror. That's less than 0.5% of the 17,500 board members fighting for attention that year. Talk about a wake-up call for those cozy boardroom dwellers. But hey, who needs democracy when you've got cynical economies voting to keep the same old faces in power, right? It's like a never-ending carousel of corporate cronies just spinning round and round. The 2024 shareholders meeting at Disney is serving up some real drama. Investors are being treated to not one, not two, but three juicy contenders contending for those coveted board seats. Let the games begin. On one side, you've got Disney's own 12-member crew doing their very best to keep the ship afloat. And then the challengers, nominated by Tryon Fund Management, none other than Nelson Peltz and Jay Rasulo. Oh, and let's not forget about the Blackwells, but honestly, does anyone even care about them? But there's Disney pulling out all the stops, expecting to drop a cool $40 million in the battle for board supremacy. Well, Tryon's estimating a $25 million tab for their own campaign. Because, you know, who needs fiscal responsibility when you're fighting for a seat at the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse? So mark your calendars, because Disney's 2024 annual meeting for the shareholders promises to be a real hoot. We will be sitting on the edge of our seats, waiting with bated breath as the votes are tallied and the winners are announced. Does Nelson Peltz secretly want to give Bob Iger the boot? He claims no, but let's be real. We all know where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And as for Disney's response, well, we've heard it all before. While Iger might be busy brushing off Peltz's Proxy fight like it's a pesky fly, Tryon might just swoop in and snag a seat on the board. With a surge of support behind him, Peltz could be on the brink of a Cinderella story for the ages. Tick-tock, Iger. Time's running out. Who's got Disney's back? Is it the Blackwells? Because yikes, they're about as threatening as a kitten with a ball of yarn. But here's where things get spicy. It's time to size up the competition. Disney has Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, Morgan Stanley, State Farm Mutual Auto Insurance, and Geo Capital Management. Oh, and let's not forget about Tryon, bless their little hearts, with their adorable 1.8%. But hey, compared to the heavyweights like Vanguard and BlackRock, they might as well be tossing pennies into a wishing well. This is a huge win, thinkers. A huge win for Nelson Peltz. Absolutely major. This will shake things up. What do you guys think? Will Nelson Peltz get a board seat? Let me know down in the comments below. Well, I do believe that's it for now. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, ring the bell for notifications, and share this far and wide. As always, my name is Est, and I'm signing off now. So I will see you in the next one. Toodles!